Yeah, no problem.
There he is. You gotta bear through the first.
Oh, good. Clean up.
I was grounded.
Good.
I never sweat. I couldn't. I don't know whether the ball plays more shit, but I kept hitting the ground before, and I'm not strong enough to hit a nice divot. I wanted to hang myself. I was like, you son of a bitch. That game, right? You want to.
It's such a relaxing game.
Yeah, right. That's why I fish. If you don't catch anything, it's still
John, you guys ready? Yeah. Good? Just remember your mics are off. Okay, good evening, everybody. Meeting was already called to order at 7:15, and we went into closed session to discuss litigation and affordable housing matters. We are out now, and I will start by reiterating the Open Public Meetings Act Statement of Compliance. Notice this meeting was published in the official newspapers and prominently posted in Borough Hall and filed with the municipal clerk in accordance with the requirements of the Public Open Meetings Act. So we have a Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Tonelli, could you lead us?
Please join me in honoring America. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Code?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mr. Tastian?
Here.
Mr. Kern?
Here.
Mr. Gullo?
Here.
Ms. Sarah?
Here.
Mr. Banfield?
Here.
Okay, so first we're going to do is we're going to present a proclamation to Officer Frank Stefano from the Police Department, who you will hear a little bit about, exhibited very heroic actions in saving a life on Monday night, was it? Wednesday, April 22nd, at the Ice House. He was about to play a hockey game, not working, right? You're never off duty. You're always responding to things that are around you and situations that are unfolding. So we want to recognize Frank for his heroic actions tonight. And Ted, if you want to join me down at the podium. I don't know. We'll go up. Thank you. So we wanted to present Frank with a proclamation tonight. Bear with me for a minute. I'm going to read it. It's a proclamation honoring Officer Frank Stefano for life-saving actions while off duty. Whereas Police Officer Frank Stefano has demonstrated the highest ideals of public service, professionalism, and compassion through steadfast commitment to the safety and well-being of others. And whereas on April 22nd, 2026, while off duty, Officer Stefano encountered an emergency situation involving a hockey goalie who had suddenly collapsed, went into cardiac arrest, and had no pulse. Whereas without hesitation and without regard for personal safety, Officer Stefano took immediate and decisive action, initiating life-saving measures that were critical in preserving human life. And whereas Officer Stefano's actions reflect exceptional courage, presence of mind, and dedication to duty beyond required responsibilities, embodying the true spirit of law enforcement and service. And whereas the residents of Oradell are profoundly grateful for Officer Stefano's selfless conduct, which serves as an inspiration to fellow officers and the entire community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Mayor James Coate III, of the Borough of Oradell, do hereby commend and honor Police Officer Frank Stefano for extraordinary heroism and life-saving actions performed by off-duty. And be it further proclaimed that this proclamation stands as a public expression of appreciation and respect, recognizing Officer Stefano as a model of integrity, courage, and service to the borough. In witness whereof I've set my hand, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the unceremonious ending, but all the good stuff ended. Frank, I'd like to present this to you.
Thank you.
We have Steve Tonelli, Chair of the County Commissioner Board, who also has something he would like to present to you. Steve, would you like to come on up?
Thank you, Mayor, Chief. So nowadays, this is what we're supposed to be promoting with law enforcement. Nowadays, between legislation that's being passed to handcuff them at doing their jobs, I thought it was very important that I come here and represent the nearly 1 million people of Bergen County to say thank you for your heroic act. People don't understand when you put this uniform on, whether you have the uniform on or the uniform is off, you're never off. You're always on duty. You're always protecting and serving. So, Frank, I want to thank you for making the commitment to not just to be a police officer, but to be a police officer here in Oradell and keeping the people of Bergen County and Oradell safe. So, in honor of recognition of your heroic, life-saving action on behalf of the nearly 1 million residents of Bergen County, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for your unwavering commitment to public safety, and we commend you for your efforts. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. So we'll just do a quick picture.
Congratulations, Frank. Congrats. It's great news.
Congrats. Really cool.
Officer, thank you. We're proud of you.
Really neat.
That's the best reward right there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Frank.
Sophia, look at me. Good job.
So, while the chief and his leadership team get set up to talk to us about their budget, I just wanted to throw something in here quick that's not on the agenda. I received a correspondence from the Oradell Public School 6th grade Give Back Committee, and they would like to spend some time at Elizabeth Street Park, which is down to the left of the milk store, and do some community service, such as cleaning the area, power washing the brick wall that has been covered in moss, and generally allow the kids to spend some time learning some skills and giving back to the community. And they would like to do that on this weekend, which is May, bear with me 1 second.
Second.
Thank you, May 2nd. From 9 to 12 p.m. So I'd just like to hear from the council if everybody would be okay with allowing them to do that.
Sounds like a great idea.
Great.
Sure thing.
Thank you very much. We'll work to confirm that for them. All right, next we have Chief Gangemi and Lieutenant Mano, Lieutenant Pressburger here to talk to the council about their 2026 proposed budget. Chief.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The mission of the Police Department is to ensure public safety, maintain order, deliver responsive professional service to the residents of Oradell. Every dollar in this budget is aligned to respect that responsibly. To date, we have answered 2,839 calls of service. This budget was prepared with full recognition of the borough's fiscal restraints, rising costs, and the need for responsible planning of taxpayer funds. At its core, this budget is about response time, officer readiness, investigative capabilities, and the safety of our community. I will briefly walk you through our operational requirements, mandated obligations, and address any questions that you might have at the end of this presentation. Real quick, on this first slide here, with some of the cuts that were projected at the last meeting, I went back to the office and started looking at the budget and full review to make sure I didn't miss anything. And some of the cuts create some risk to public safety, and we're going to get into that just so everyone is aware, and information is king. But I wanted to explain that the police department is the most unique department that this borough has. We are 365, 24/7 uninterrupted service. Okay, the police department never stops, never closes, and we don't have a day off no matter what the weather is. Our first look, we have department operational requirements. With the requirements, we have to maintain staffing levels to ensure the continuous patrol coverage to the emergency responses and supervisor oversight, support our reliable vehicles, update our communication systems and our modern police technology, and sustain officer safety with effective delivery service. Our mandated responsibilities, we must comply with the New Jersey General Guidelines, the Prosecutor's Office directives, statutory guidelines, and working towards accreditation standards to reduce liability. This includes use of force reporting, evidence management, training requirements, and public safety response obligations. Or some of our existing fiscal constraints right now, we're operating on the fixed municipal budget, impacted by town development, rising personnel costs, contractual obligations, increasing equipment, technology expenses, and requiring the prioritization of essential services, and also the phase of the capital investments, which is probably coming the next presentation. Go to the next slide. Our core issue is staffing. We've been trying to get back to 25 members for a bunch of years now, but we just can't get there. These low staffing requirements, what's happening is we're losing people through retirements and resignations. We had 2 officers go to different towns, and we had 2 officers, actually 3 officers retire in the last 2 years. So we have 3 openings right now. We're looking to hire 2 officers this year. We were asked to reduce that to 1, but you can see that the cause and effect, the cause is obviously the low staffing, but the effect, what's going to happen is to fill those gaps, an officer still has to be on patrol, still has to fill that shift, and it's a 12-hour shift at a rate of time and a half for that officer's pay, at that officer's current rate. So let's say it's a sergeant. The cost of a sergeant to work, if he works 27 overtime shifts to fill gaps, he's already at the cost of a new hire for the entire year. So it's just cause and effect. And then hiring converts preventable overtime into predictable salary costs. When you have a new officer, you know his rates, and you know it through the life of the contract. Where we have to fill vacancies, it depends on what officers work in that shift. The overtime fluctuates, and numbers could get out of control, and I can't control that. The hiring reduces our long-term costs. With these officers working the extra shifts and the overtime that's available to them outside, it's increasing our fatigue, burnout, liability, and our response times. And then we come into this vicious cycle of vacancy, overtime, fatigue, more overtime, and it just continues. The why? The inside overtime budget hasn't been increased in 4 years. We are trying to backfill for the operational efficiency, and proper staffing is risk management, not just the ask. The second, getting into the second budget item that is up for cuts is our contractual services. On the right is basically all main vendors that we're using right now, all big budget ticket items. The 8700 just happened to be a clerical error that was posted twice for one of these services that we're using. It's not anything we're asking for more. We're just trying to keep up with technology so the officers have the best equipment possible. And we want to improve mission critical. That's staying focused to our financial resources, our high impact area like technology, and drive towards the enhance of our professionalism. So these systems is what runs the police department in our record management system, our CAD system, that's our everyday call logging system. Our e-agent is our system that's access to the state, federal systems where we look up plates, look for warrants. DART runs our IT system. Power DMS is our records management system. Axon is our evidence system, our taser system, our camera system, and then CGIS is our criminal justice information system that we must be a part of as a police department. Our miscellaneous line item, we were asked to reduce by $21,000, and this one is kind of difficult for us. We're trying to maintain a stability here through risk management. So with that is when we hire new officers, they must go through physical exams, mental exams, and drug testing. All right, those are all required to get hired, whether you're coming as a Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, or a full-time police officer. So those numbers have to be in there. Our body armor, that's critical to our everyday life here as a police officer. Yes, grant funding is available, but it's not a guarantee, and we also don't know when the grant will be approved and how much we're going to get. So we don't want to play, hopefully we'll get the money when we have to outfit the officers. Right now we're doing the replacement program. It's about 6 to 7 vests a year, and they're pretty pricey. But that's the officer's livelihood. And our fleet graphics, we try to maintain our professionalism with our brand. Our brand is our patch, our uniforms, how our cars look, and we try to give the town the best possible look to display a professionalism that we can as a police department. And the guys do a great job in that. Go ahead, next slide, please. Basically, we're just looking at the clarifications of the inflated costs coming from our contractual services are going up. We can't control their increases. The staff shortages hurts us big time in the pocket, and that's what we can't control. The increase of the overtime, the increase of the bank time. And those two are the major items that we need to control and bring down and manage better. New officers brings it down immediately because we're not filling it at a higher pay rate at time and a half. We're back into a salary. This will also eliminate our retention issues. We'll have low morale, low alertness, and productivity. All right, you can go to the next one. Our outside didn't print. Our outside overtime earnings. This is what we get from our vendors. They pay us to do the traffic control. Right now, profit-wise, we're at 89,000 to date in 26. 25 was 191,000. 24 was $500,000, and 23 was about 120. That's after the officers are compensated for their time and after fleet services are paid for and everything. So the reason why that's up there is, it would help us not ask for so much money if some of that could be transferred into the police budget, and it would solve all your problems budget-wise, so we're not looking at these major impacts. Because what happens with cuts is as we cut year to year to year, what happens is we're going to hit a year, and it could be this year, where it's going to impact us where we can't cut any more to provide the same level of service that this town deserves, that we can do. Where we at? All right, that's just wrapping up. It's just, we can't control the outside increases that directly impact the department. The only thing we can do is plan accordingly while being financially responsible and for our long-term planning. Is that the last? Go one more. Joe, one more?
That's it.
Last one. Okay. So really, thank you for your time. I know it's a lot to listen to, but there was a lot of cuts in there I wasn't ready for. I was aware of a couple. I wasn't aware of all the cuts. It's a big blow to the police department. Does anybody have any questions on anything specific or anything I didn't cover that you would like answered? Yes, Maggie.
I'm just curious, so you were not involved in assessing what cost cutting could be done? Who did that assessment? How was that done? Was that from the council side? Okay. So
Maggie, I'll shed a little light on it. So the staff prepared their budgets and submitted them through the administrator to the finance committee. The finance committee chair, led by Council President Kelly, met and reviewed the budget with the CFO and the administrator and analyzed the asks against the big picture of the financial situation of the borough. And out of that review came a recommended budget. And the process is that those cuts were communicated to the department heads, and this meeting, the next meeting, are there opportunities to come in and talk to us about, how that may or may not work, or other things that maybe we didn't think about that we should consider. But this is our time to engage with the different department heads who need to come back and advocate their positions for what their asks were.
Absolutely. Thank you. That explains it very well, Mayor.
So last meeting was the first time I saw all the cuts.
Okay. Then my question is to you, can you provide for us your PowerPoint, or is there some way that the council can have it so we can go back and review it?
Absolutely.
That would be great. And do you have recommendations of cuts that you think would be more productive, but also might help the borough's budget? And maybe that's putting you on the spot. Maybe you want to think about that.
Well, I would have to talk it over with the command staff to see where we can shave off some money. But I wanted to get the critical points across to you today, because a lot of cuts came at us. We're the highest of all the departments that we're looking at reductions. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that being a 24-hour service, there's some stuff that is really needed and necessary to keep the department in tip-top shape and give you the service that you deserve and the taxpayers deserve.
I think we appreciate that.
I can, I can look at that and talk
Yeah.
with the finance committee would be
I-
helpful to me.
Absolutely, I'd be interested in your suggestions. And also, I'm 100% behind the Oradell Police Department. In fact, your desk sergeant actually saved my family's life one night when I was going to go to sleep because my alarms were going off, and I thought they were just not working. And so we were going to go to sleep, and it turned out we had an enormous amount of
Carbon monoxide.
carbon monoxide in our house because our furnace had stopped functioning. And I'm personally grateful that we were saved by a policeman saying, Maggie, call the fire department and let's get on with it. So anyway, I would be very interested in any other further suggestions you have. Thank you.
So, Chief, thank you. And again, a copy of this would be great.
I'll give it to Laura, and she can get it to the council.
Yeah, just in terms of staffing, just to get educated, is it mandated, state mandated manpower hours that we need to have for X amount of hours out of the day?
so
or is it capacity, or is it one-offs?
It's a population formula that was created by the FBI. And for our local population right now, we're looking at 19 to 25 guys. With that call volume, 25 is optimal. What I'm worried about is the development of the town, what we're looking at. We're going to increase our population, we're going to increase our retail, and we got to still keep up our services.
Yeah.
So
I mean, are there, if you work in 12s? Or,
12-hour shifts, sir.
Yeah, so is there a mandated number that you have each 12? Is it 3 or 4? Or
There's 3.
It's
3 a tour. That's our minimum shift.
And each officer has their hours per week, and does that math work at
So if we have 4 men
or
per
1
tour,
or 4, or
So
are we
if we have-
automatically going into overtime?
so if we have 4 men per tour, what that gives us the ability, if someone calls out sick or gets injured, we fill it. It's filled automatically with the 4-man tour because the minimum staffing is 3, and there's no overtime. The problem we're having now is we're at minimum staffing on the tours. Guys are getting sick, guys are going out, and plus we have vacancies. We have to still fill that spot, and that's why overtime is going through the roof.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're okay at required 3, but we
Besides the
budget for
vacancies.
4, and then if 4 is not there, then and then we need it, then we go into overtime. Does that
I mean,
make sense?
we're into the overtime now because of the vacancy spots.
Yeah. Because that 3, out of that 3 minimum, something may be
So
injured.
if something happens to one of those 3, that has to
Right,
get filled.
Then we go overtime.
Correct.
Okay.
And
So
if
our
we
goal,
boost our numbers
adding-
up, that overtime disappears.
Going to the desired number, would that bring you to 4 for all slots? It
Yes.
would. So then that, in effect, we're covered unless there's something going on.
Catastrophic, yeah.
Catastrophic, then hence our overtime, et cetera, would go the other way, right? I mean, I would assume that'd be a
Yeah.
direct correlation.
If you have 4 men per tour, you have the flexibility of sick days, vacations, and then we just keep on rolling. When we're down to 3 and we're doing sick days, vacations, and holidays or injuries, then that's where you have to get the extra bodies in. The guys are working, extra shifts, and that's where the overtime gets a little out of hand. I can't control it.
Yeah, and in terms of that 4, is it your call or each division, if you will, where that 4th person would go? If it is potentially to traffic detail or standing on
We have
when
to
there's
cover
a
the
theater
shifts
show,
first.
that in terms of where that 4th person, if it's a regular night.
So the patrol lieutenant oversees the schedule, and if there's a vacancy in the shift, that's covered first
Right.
before any outside
If we have
overtime.
full four officers on and we're good,
If one of those 4, let's say, takes off,
I get
sick,
I get
then
that. Now we're
it's-
minimum.
we're still rolling. We're not
Yeah.
calling anybody in. It's when we're down at 3 and then we lose 1 or 2, that's when it becomes a problem,
Yeah.
and that's what we're kind of dealing with now.
I have a question, Chief.
Yes.
When we have PSC&G work, for instance, and there's an officer assigned, how does that impact your ability to cover the other spots? Because you can't always anticipate when those things will happen, right?
Correct. So right now we have to prioritize. The lieutenant will look at the shifts. The shifts have to get covered first, and then outside overtime is covered second, and if we can't cover it, we ask for mutual aid to cover it, so the contractor can keep on going.
Does that create overtime situations?
Not the outside overtime, because we're always taking care of the department first.
Okay, and that outside work generates income for the borough, if I understood your slide correctly.
That's correct.
No, that's a plus. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Just another caveat to the outside overtime. We petitioned the Finance Committee. I don't know how far it got. We're looking to get the outside overtime, the $148 right now we're charging per hour, to bring it up to $180 due to all the increasing costs. That's, helps us out with traffic vests, cones, fleet maintenance, the cost of the officer, and the town.
Is that hourly charge discretionary?
Each
we
town
determine it?
Each town determines their rate. We were at 135. We had to bring it up to 148 to keep up a couple of years ago, and now it should go up again to stay with the rest of the county towns.
So there's no bargaining with somebody who's doing work in the town and needs police presence there. The charge is the charge.
The charge is the charge. It's a flat fee, and then out of that flat fee is all the deductions: the officer, the fleet service, the town, everything.
Good.
I have 2 or 3 quick questions.
Sure.
One of the things you talked about that I picked up on was officer fatigue around working extra shifts, whether it's outside overtime or in-house overtime, because you're below an optimal staffing level. I would assume there's some formula by which you're looking at how you manage the amount of external overtime an officer can sign up for, right? Because one of the things is, let's just say we give you all the staffing you need. What stops the officers from taking every single external overtime shift in addition to whatever is needed internally, right? Because we have hard workers out there. If you can go out and work and earn $1, you do that. I would be concerned, are we still in the same situation where you have fatigue issues? Because like in the one year you had $500,000 in profit to the borough. I can't even imagine what the build number was. But in other years you have half that or a quarter of that,
correct,
or whatever the case is. How do you manage that in terms of how much use the officers, I guess, getting assigned in a specific period of time? Is there an hour limit?
So, Joe, could you just go into where we have the cutoffs, and there's also an overtime rotation. So one guy cannot just work as many hours as he can.
To go on the officer fatigue, the 500,000 profit, or whatever profit it is, that's, even if we're at full staffing, that number remains. So the guys are getting run down because the shifts, the 12-hour shifts, which are rotating, always have to be covered. External overtime, there's guys here that work more. There's some guys here that work very minimal, but they can never not work their shifts.
Right.
Fatigue is not coming from working PSG&G. Fatigue is working 8, 9, 10 consecutive 12-hour shifts, which are ordered in. There's no, hey, we'll take care of it tomorrow. We're a different entity than Public Works or anybody else. So guy calls out sick, phone rings, hey, you got to come in. You're ordered to come into work. They have no choice. So it doesn't matter. Then you go to your home life, you have a family, you have children. It all plays a role, and you got to come back to work the next night. Right. So fatigue is going to be there. Whether they choose to pick up the extra overtime, some guys do because, like you said, hardworking people want to make some extra money. But we don't order guys. That's why you'll see, as you drive around town, you'll see New Milford, Holworth, excuse me, other towns around, because we don't even have the manpower to cover our own details in town. There's guys that are on their off day and they're just, I don't want to work traffic today. I need a break.
Right.
But the breaks never come on the 12-hour shifts. And like we were talking about 4-man tours, like right now we have 2 4-man tours, sometimes 1 4-man tour. We had 1 man in the detective bureau for 3 years. We need 2. I worked in the detective bureau for 5 years prior to being a patrol sergeant and then administrator. For 5 years I had a partner. Detective Sergeant Fedorchuk. He was the boss up there. I worked with him. He was never without a partner. Detective Madeline, 3 years, no partner. He became a sergeant. Just now, wasn't until he got injured where we had to move an officer up there, which also made the shift short by moving a patrolman to the bureau, because otherwise you can't close the door and say you don't have a detective bureau. So like our shortages have gone on for years, and they haven't been addressed properly. It's always like, we'll give you one, and we're still short. We'll give you one, we're still short. And what the chief's trying to say is that to get us to the right amount of people, we need multiple officers at once to get us to where we need to be, that we can absorb an injury or in just contractual time off. Guys have vacations and comps. Sick time aside, sick time varies. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. Depends on what goes on in your personal life as well, with your family and environmental factors, and you can go on forever about that. But just the overtime, to answer your question, circle back, is that it really comes down to a personal thing. The chief can't say, hey, you can't work. You can't work traffic. If he sees, or myself and Lieutenant C, hey, you're calling out sick on your shifts, but you seem to be working traffic details, hey, what's going on? Your shifts are a priority. And we monitor that. So like that wouldn't be something that, guys don't take advantage of that. It's not something they abuse. It really comes down to just, it's a burden, 12 hours, round the clock shifts, and we're short. And it's like, you see the guys just, coming to work and they're dragging. And we need more guys to avoid the automatic call-ins.
No, I appreciate the answer. My question was more of a target of the officer well-being, right? Because if they're not in a good place, the right frame of mind, well rested, right? You guys make split-second decisions. Right. So if you have somebody who's been working too much, or you're saying we have guys that are suffering from fatigue, the minute you walk out the door to start your shift, you're already at a disadvantage, right? And we don't want that. Right. But I guess I'll just close with this question. Is there a maximum amount of hours that you cap in all? Suppose the guy's working, 6 12-hour shifts in a week. You cut the line there, or like where does it stop? Is there a ceiling? Or everybody does what they need to do in order to make the clock turn?
Well, they're not working 12-hour shifts in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is limits what they are allowed to work. In emergencies, we can go up to 18 hours, but for, say, an outside detail, no more than 16 in a day. And generally, that's very rare. Most of the work that guys are doing are 8-hour days. And then there is limits between midnights. You can't work a set hours prior to a midnight, so you need the rest. After midnight, you're not supposed to work unless it's last minute. There is times with shifts that a guy, it's like, hey, we need you to split this. You got to work the 18. One comes in early, somebody will relieve him, or vice versa, midnight into a day tour. It's rare. We try to monitor it. It does happen, but
you guys do have parameters that help
Yes.
you make sure somebody's not in a disadvantaged position.
Yes,
from
without
fatigue
violating contract,
and not being able to do what they got to do. All right. Last question, Chief. It's a little bit of a loaded one, but I want the council to hear this. As it may impact your overtime, what is being asked of municipal police departments given the upcoming World Cup and public safety throughout the county?
Wow. Okay. So, from the chief's meetings I've attended in the county and the state level, Bergen County towns are being asked to do a lot. They're asking for our manpower. If we have officers on loan, which we do, we have Officer Zezutarki is on the Rapid Deployment Task Force. We don't, he got hurt. Madeline is on the RDF, the Rapid Deployment Team. That's basically that's the large numbers of platoon officers that are going to surround the stadium. We don't have anybody on SWAT, which is good because they're going to be out there every day. But what they're looking for our towns is to, the prosecutors have asked us to create task force within the county to help towns like Carlstadt, Rutherford, East Rutherford, Lyndhurst. What's going to happen is they don't know what the traffic impact, what the crowd impact is going to have. And they're relying on these little task force made up by all Bergen County towns to assist the county events, because the state police are only going to control MetLife. They're not going to help traffic control. All they're going to do is MetLife. So we're in charge of helping. I'm going to use Carlstadt as an example, that their traffic is now outrageous. They're going to have to call extra officers in because their tours are going to be suffering. And we're going to go down there in cars, uniformed officers in small groups, and we're going to do traffic control. We're going to do pedestrian control. There's a big ask on all of our Bergen County towns. And if something happens locally, we were advised to rely on our own mutual aid around here, Emerson, Paramus, New Milford, Harworth, and vice versa. They're relying on us, we're relying on them, because there is no county services is either not going to be available or there's going to be a delay.
Okay, so it's fair to say that whatever you may be asked to support is going to generate some overtime. Because if you lose an officer who's requested to participate in a task force, you have to fill that hole here.
Yes.
If we have an officer who's a member of a county-level support organization who's now assigned to the World Cup, you have to fill that vacancy here.
You're 100% correct.
And who's writing the check to the town for all this time?
So
the governor?
The governor is getting money, we believe, through FIFA. At the state meeting, they said that she will not disperse any money to the local jurisdictions until the state police is satisfied. The state police is responsible for MetLife itself and every team that comes here. No matter where they are, 5 troopers are assigned to every team.
Right.
So it's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be like a disaster plan. We're going to come, there's going to be money spent, we're going to have to keep records, and then submit our records to the state, and hopefully there'll be some kind of reimbursement.
I appreciate
No guarantee, though, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I wanted you guys to hear that because this is something I am keenly in tune with, and working with Mayor Glidden from Closter, who's the head of the Bergen County League of Municipalities, we've invited the president of the Bergen County Police Chiefs Association and the lieutenant colonel from the state police, who's in charge of the security around MetLife Stadium, to hear from them in a little bit more detail what the chief's conveying, and be able to have an open dialogue with them about the kinds of questions I'm asking the chief that he doesn't really have an adequate answer for other than what the script is they've been given. But, you know, this World Cup business, I'm very concerned that's going to have an impact on our ability to maintain the level of public safety that we need to. I'm not saying holes are going to go unfilled, or if you call a police officer, one's not going to come. Look, we've got great groups of firemen and police officers, and whenever something needs to get done, they'll figure out how to get it done. But, you know, from a budgetary perspective, you know, if he's saying, hey, I'm over in my overtime now, who knows? Maybe it's $10,000, maybe it's $25,000 that towns like Oradell are getting hit with in overtime to support this event. It's not benefiting us. So I'm going to be very keenly advocating for reimbursement for any kind of participation that we're asked to provide. I was pleasantly surprised the other day the chief reported to me that I had held off on signing a check for probably 3 months. I think he was embarrassed. I was the last mayor to sign the check that was contributing towards the Police Chiefs Association to support World Cup activities. I didn't feel we should be supporting that. It's not our event. It's the states. They're getting money. FIFA's making a ton of money. But anyway, I signed it ultimately because these guys didn't negotiate the deal. The politicians did. That check was returned to us, and those funds were provided by county seizure funds. Prosecutor's office, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
Did that. So I'm glad the county stepped up. But it's not even right for the county to have to absorb that cost. This is a state-level event. So, you know, more to be had on that, but it is going to have an impact on their budget and their staffing. And I just wanted you to hear that from the chief, and there'll be more to come on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, just one more, just in terms of your shifts, and I don't, just the 12s versus the 8s. And I know if I was working 12 hours and now I get home and it's my kid's party or whatever, I'm going to go right into that. And it's probably pretty hard not to be fatigued. I don't know, working 12s. I don't know if we've had 8s in the past or
So,
if other towns have that. Can you shed some light on that?
yes, so it's a great question. We've had 8s. I worked them. They are more harmful to your health and your body than 12-hour shifts are. Because 8s, you change every week. You work 5 days of day tours, 5 days of evening tours, and then 5 days of night tours. With the 12-hour shifts, you're working 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, 3 off, and then the cycle repeats. Your body gets used to when we do 2 weeks of days, 2 weeks of nights. So we're not changing every week, we're changing every 2 weeks. And your body has a chance to adjust. And it's a lot better. I felt great when I went to, when we switched to 12s. Yes, it's a longer midnight, but you're only working 2 of them, and then you're off for 2. And then you're back. And then when you're working days, you work 2. The most you're working is 3, and that's over the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But the 12s, your body gets to adjust. You eat normal. You have a better pattern of eating. And to me, it was night and day. So that we said we'd only do a trial year, and it's been, almost 20 years we haven't looked back. So yeah, 8s are hard.
12s are the norm, I assume, in the state or around here?
It's becoming the norm, yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions for the chief? Thank you.
And I'll get that stuff over to Laura.
Thank you for what you do. We appreciate the fact that our department cultivates officers like Officer Stefano, and there are many other officers that have exhibited bravery in addition to him, that have done numerous life-saving acts throughout the town over time. And it's really nice to know that when you have a problem and your world is in a disarray and you pick up a phone and ask for help, that we have guys like you showing up at front doors within a matter of minutes to be able to bring some normalcy to a really difficult situation. So we appreciate everything the department does, and should keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, yeah.
Thanks for listening to us, and shout out to the fire department for saving the big disaster up 705 Kindercamack today. All right. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, take that.
Okay, next on the agenda, do we have any old business to come before the council?
Mayor, I have one budget item.
Yes, sir.
So the fire chief asked me to advocate for a operational budget cutback that we discussed before. I think we cut them back around $6,800 or so, and that item was for clothing allowance for members, officers, and just clothing items. The one problem with that is that, the volunteer fire department is expecting more members and more growth within the upcoming years. And they just signed on 2 new members as well. So they are kind of pressed for, clothing. They get damaged. They need more clothing to keep them safe as well. So all in all, I asked our CFO, Katie, to do an analysis. If we return those funds back to the full requested amount, that would only increase about 11%, and their full budget appropriations would be about $143,000 altogether.
Okay, thank you.
123?
143 if you add all those items together.
Any other old business coming before the council? If not, do we have any new business?
So you're asking for all the 6,800 back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what they're asking us not to cut it.
Yes, I'm hearing that, asking us
Right.
not to cut it. Yes.
Any new business to come before the council tonight? If not, I will open it up to public comment. I'll entertain a motion to open for public comment on non-agenda items.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Paul,
carries.
it's from beautiful Beverly Road. First question is about a question that I asked last week, which we're probably going to have an answer today, about the Prospect concrete sidewalk. And I would like to know what's being done there, and if that company went bankrupt, how is this going to be performed? That's one question. The other thing I wanted to say is I went to the senior citizens meeting at the Hackensack Golf Club, which was fantastic. A lot of seniors came out there, a lot of seniors. It was really good, and a very impressive meeting. And from what I heard of some of the things that people wrote down there on the little sticky pads that we had, we wrote what we thought, and a lot of it had to do with the speeding traffic. Most seniors were concerned about speeding traffic on Kinderkamack Road and throughout the town. Now, that brings me to the 25 mile per hour request that I wanted to find out if we did anything on that, if we acted on it for the B1 zone, and also on the 2 lamp posts that are missing on the southern end of town. The other thing is the Viola, about the testing of the water. I understand that they do testing, and I thought that maybe, Mayor, you could get the testing results from Viola and find out just what is in our water and maybe give us some kind of an answer about what they're actually cleaning up and what they can't clean up in our drinking water. The other thing is the news on affordable housing negotiations, and how is that going? I thought we could maybe get a report on that tonight, if there's anything different. And I wanted to talk about the buffer zones for commercial properties and single-family residences. And from what I understand, when we give these variances, and if the building is a little bit higher, they allow it, and we get a variance. But nothing happens with the buffer zone. They'll get that variance for having a little bit higher building, but the buffer zone doesn't increase. And I think that we should have some kind of a ratio that if they're going to raise the height of the building above what it's supposed to be, 35 feet, and if it goes to 42 or 46, we should not have the same buffer zone next to a residential property. We should increase that buffer zone. And I thought that that'll probably have to get back to the planning board for you guys. But it's a thought that I wanted to mention tonight. The other thing is, the DPAC parking entrance. We're still missing those 3 trees that were cut down because they were those ash trees. And hopefully we can get those back. Now, here's a little thing I'm going to serve you with here now. Not the A1. What do they call that? The new. Is it A1 or? This new technology that they have, that AI, that's it. Yeah, I wrote it down as A1. AI pass certain areas for different jobs. From what I can find out is maybe we can use these AIs for when we want to do something, and we can feed them all that information and see if they can find out what the best situation is by using AI. And I don't know if we have the ability to do that in town. I think that we should be able to use that. Sometimes
Best situation for what?
Pardon me?
Best situation for what?
Maggie,
For anything.
we're not going to do the back and forth.
For anything, even for the police department scheduling or whatever, anything. Or what's the best situation for them? They can find out for different things, and that's what I was thinking about, and that's it. That's all I have to say today, and hopefully I'll get some answers from the questions that I asked.
I'll ask the engineer under his report to address the Prospect Avenue situation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. I mentioned to the council just before the next speaker gets up, I have to depart at 8:30, so I'm going to segue out now. Council President Kelly is going to run the rest of the meeting. I have a matter I have to attend to, but thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor. Is there any other member of the public that wishes to comment on non-agenda items? Please, thank you. Yes.
Ori Katzin, Laurel Drive, the beautiful Laurel Drive, and I can see progress. When I said last meeting, the pothole-ridden Laurel Drive, and the people from the DPWs were here, a miracle happened, and all the potholes, about 20 of them, were patched up this week. So progress in town, I guess. Good. But the way they were patched up, it's not going to fit the Oradell 5K, which passes by. They're going to have to smooth it out because right now they're too high. And if you're going to have runners on them, and I run mainly on the sidewalks, but on the 5K you run on the pavement, that's a little bit too high and people can trip over. So hopefully it will get fixed up a little bit better. I'll speak to Dan about this. I'm sure something can be done. Because every year, twice a year, they're fixing it up. And because of the way it slopes and water... Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So, good evening, Council. What I basically wanted to address tonight, a few things. The mayor just left, but I wanted to say a few things about the meeting that happened, my comments in a public meeting in, I believe it was beginning of March when we had the one at the OPS. And I was asking the council to do something in honor of Sergeant David Salinas before the 3rd anniversary. And the mayor said, we've been doing, but so far it's been 2 months and I haven't heard anything. 30 days ago was the 3rd anniversary of the passing of tragic passing of Sergeant Salinas. And in 30 days, we're going to have Memorial Days. So today is right in between. I think it's a good day to think about an action, to actually go and do something about it. And from what I understand, and some of the talks that happened here about a month ago about the ordinance committee that getting into action and going to do something about honorary sign program. I also forwarded to all of you, and I ask you to forward to the town council, the borough council. My proposal is to do something that the memory of Sergeant Salinas can be honored. So please think about this. I would very much appreciate. Council President, I know how close you are to the family, and I know you really want to do something about it. Let's see if all together can do this. Another thing that I wanted to basically talk about is, and that relates a little bit to last Saturday night about things that happened during the White House Correspondents' Dinner and the shooter that was going to basically take down the president. I believe that the tone, the rhetoric, and the tone about the president should be toned down. Everything should be toned down. And unfortunately, a council member that's sitting in right there is, for the past few years, kept posting very vicious posts on social media about the president. So a child that, a 20-year-old child that heard about it when he was 20 years old for the past 11 years, ever since Trump announced that he's going to run for president, obviously become radicalized. And that tone has to change. After all, you cannot hate the president more than you love this country. So if you love this country, you need to have respect for the office of the presidency. The same way as if I hated one of you here, I still have respect for you because you got elected, and most of you got 2,000 votes. When I ran, I got 2,000 votes. Okay, that means 2,000 people in the town respect me and want me to represent them. So therefore, I have respect. So even if I have something against one of you sitting here, I am going to keep it to myself. I am not going to post about this. There should be respect for the office of the presidency, and there should be the tone and the rhetoric should be either toned down a little bit. Let's put it this way. So we don't have radicalized people in here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to comment on non-agenda items? If not, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is, I'd like to make a motion to open up to consent agenda items to the public. Any members of the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any members of the public wish to comment on consent agenda items only? If not, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is the consent agenda items themselves. Does any member of the council wish to comment or pull any of the resolutions on tonight's agenda? Do I hear any motion, or we have a motion to?
Go ahead.
We're good to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next is committee reports tonight, and I will start. That's with me in terms of administration. That committee has been meeting regularly to discuss various personnel matters.
Quick question.
Sure.
Should we have done a roll call for the consent agenda?
Did we not do that?
We can go back and do it if
Okay.
you want a formal one.
Can we have a roll call to approve the consent agenda? Thank you. if
Sure,
that's-
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Tastian,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Ms. Hare,
Yes.
Mr. Banfield.
Yes.
Thank you. So again, next on the agenda is the committee reports. Administration, as I mentioned, has been meeting very regularly with various department heads and staffs, just to make sure this building is well run. And obviously at budget times, there's difficult conversations but fruitful conversations about all kind of matters administrative wise. And so meeting with the administrator, and that's going to continue there. Finance, again, is we have right in the middle of the operating budget. That's going to be soon followed by the capital budget. We're also very much in the RFP process. We did get the 5 responses back from local banks in town. So that's in the process of being reviewed. And that'll be reviewed by the Finance Committee, and more to come forward there. Again, potential to either stay with our current provider or move it. Makes sense. Environmental, that's, again, continues to be a very busy time of year for that committee. May 16th is our planning day that weekend. That's Saturday and Sunday. So we, as always, can use volunteers to plant those flower pots. We have at least 100 of them in town. So that'll happen very shortly. We did have a couple events that were affected by the bad weather. We had the cleanup this past weekend was postponed. We had the nature walk, which also we held, but it was in kind of lousy weather. So, that continues to, again, be all the other programs, the styrofoam, recycling, they're all going kind of full speed ahead. Seniors, one of the residents mentioned the event we held at Hackensack Golf Club, again, all coming from the grant that we had. Every senior should have, anybody 55 and older, we're really making a big push to get this survey completed. That was part of the requirements of the grant. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., our tax assessor, Jim Ambazino, will host a program at the Senior Center on all of the tax programs for our seniors, the tax-free anchored programs, et cetera, et cetera. That's also going to be followed by a complimentary lunch, again, with a big push to get this survey filled out. Last Tuesday night, the high school hosted our seniors for a chorus line. We had a very good group of seniors attend for free. It was a wonderful show, if anybody got to see that this past weekend. And this Thursday night, the Bergen County Players will host our seniors again for free, the new show that's coming in there. So again, it continues to be a robust calendar. Planning and zoning, nothing new there other than continued discussions to potentially merge those two boards, as well as focus on requirements that we need to have in place for the housing, the fair share housing. So, and that's all that I have. Next up will be, who's up next? Ordinance?
Yeah, Laura, before I read the ordinance, what's the date of publication for that?
That'll be Monday, May 4th.
Thank you. Ordinance number...
Sure, you want to read the ordinance?
What?
You reading the ordinance?
Yes, he asked me to read it.
Okay.
So, sorry.
That's all right, because I got a script here, too, so...
Oh, so you know what? I think I'm filling in for the mayor role.
Okay, all right, got it. All right.
Perfect.
Ordinance number 26-7 is ready for final reading.
Will the Borough Clerk please read ordinance number 26-7 by title only?
Calendar year 2026 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank under NJSA 48:4-45.14.
Has ordinance number 26-7 been published in full, posted on the bulletin board, and made available to members of the general public?
Yes.
Is there any member of the general public who wishes to be heard concerning this ordinance? Is there any member of the council who wishes to discuss this ordinance further?
Yes. I just have a clarification question. The second paragraph provides that a municipality may, when authorized by ordinance, appropriate the difference between the amount of its actual final appropriation and the 3.5 percentage rate as an exception to its final appropriations in either of the next two succeeding years. Can you explain to me what that means? I couldn't figure out what it means.
Yeah, I think it means exactly what it's saying.
Well, I'm sure it does, but
It's not saying it that clearly.
But yeah, it's just a kind of a leeway if there's an emergency that happens. And we have that our budget that we're going to pass. We have a 3.5% cap that we can use if we so need to be. So that's really it, and it's a 2-year kind of rolling period. If that makes sense. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, should we change the word to cap as opposed to rate? That would make it clearer. 3.5 percentage cap is an exception to its final.
No, cap is percent of the dollar amount. So that
Okay, all right.
percent will add it will correlate to a dollar amount.
Yeah, because that budget number may change.
Yeah.
So if you cap it, you're kind of...
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If I may, Council President, that ordinance is pretty much what is dictated by the state of New Jersey. When
The language
when
of it.
2% cap came in several years ago, this was built in for, as the Council President said, emergencies. God forbid you have some natural or other disaster and you need to exceed it.
To the councilman's point, the numbers, our budget's going to change, so the percent is a percent of our budget, so we can't have a dollar amount. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
I'd like to motion that the ordinance number 26-7 be passed on final reading and published in the Bergen County Record on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026.
Second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Tashian?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Banfield?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, DPW and Engineering, Councilman Tashian.
Thank you. So we had a DPW meeting yesterday. We talked about administrative time and versus comp time. We talked about the operations budget, and I just need to get some clarity if we're hiring 1, 2, or 0 So I just need to get some clarity on that. We're going to look into paving the recycling center. We're also getting the tree removal specs for out to bid clarity. Hague Park tree, we're going to do in-house. I know that's been an open item, but we will do all but the stump on that property. High Street has a sewer line issue that we're addressing. And Dave, we need to figure out our DOT is coming up soon, so if we can identify what we're going to do for DOT, I'd love to be able to do parking lots if we could. I don't know. I know there's some restrictions on that, but if we could.
That's fine.
And then finally, in honor of Arbor Day, thank you to Columbia Bank who donated the tree that was planted at DPAC. So, Paul, we're down to 2 that are missing there. Okay? So with that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilman. Is that so the paving of DPW lot, is that us? Or is that
No.
part
I
of
didn't say
our-
paving of DPW dot.
No, not DP. Would you?
I said that there was a tree planted at the DPAC.
No, not DP. I thought you mentioned
recycling.
paving.
I'm sorry.
The
The recycling area.
Is that,
We're
do
looking
we do
into
that,
that.
or is that's part of our roads
We
program?
may use our recycling money. We're trying to figure out how we can fund it.
We
Because
don't have the capability. We have the right to do that.
we have to pay for it.
Yeah, we got to pay for it. Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Fire Department audit compliance and ordinance, Councilman Kern.
Thank you, Council President. So the Ordinance Committee has not formally met during the month of April. However, a session is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon to address, actually tomorrow morning, to address several pressing topics. Key agenda items include continued discussion regarding the land use, joint land use board and planning for street naming ordinance. Moving on to fire department. Just some statistics here. There were 100 calls year to date as of 2 days ago, and there was 17 calls in April so far. Some personnel updates. In a highlight for the department, 2 members were sworn in last night by the mayor during the department drill. Both individuals have risen through the junior firefighter ranks. This continued growth is significant achievement given the current staffing challenges facing volunteer emergency services nationwide. And also I'd like to report on a significant incident concerning 705 Kinderkamak Road, or also known as the Blaveldt Mansion. On the morning of April 26th, today, at 10:40 a.m., Oradell first responders, along with mutual aid from surrounding communities, including Paramus and River Edge, reacted to reports of a burning building at 705 Kinderkamak. Emerson Fire Department also provided standby assistance to the borough during the operation. Fire Chief Terry Moran reported that crews were confronted by a fire on the roof of a 2.5-story wood frame building. The structure is technically an occupied house, serving as a carriage house for the adjacent historic Blaveldt Mansion. Chief Moran confirmed that the fire was confined to the roof and what appeared to be covered by dried pine needles, which was probably the most likely cause. While the fire did not penetrate the interior of the structure, the house did sustain some water damage as a result of suppression efforts. PSE&G was called to the scene and successfully disconnected the electrical and gas services as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. Public Safety, Emergency Management, Technology, Communications, Recreation, Special Events, Councilman Gullo.
Just a couple quick updates. The past few months have been productive in working closely with the chief and the police department, especially the command staff, in terms of policy oversight, traffic safety, staffing, and summer public safety readiness, including coordination with some large-scale events we do have coming up over the next few months. Recreation department as well into summer 26 planning with camp staffing, registration progressing, as well as field trip planning, coordination with the swim club to ensure a safe and transparent and fun camp. And lastly, planning is also actively underway for large community events, including July 3rd fireworks, the July 4th Independence Day and our celebration of the 250th anniversary of America, summer concert series, and the anticipated Fall Fest. And that is my report.
Thank you. Historical Library and Economic Development, Councilman Harrer.
Thank you. I'd also like to compliment OPTV for their coverage continues to provide our citizens with a lot of information, particularly with the affordable housing and the discussions that we've had coming up. Thank you for your filming of it and making it available for citizens who couldn't be here to actually view it. The mayor and I met recently to discuss the Oradell Business Enhancement Committee. It was a committee that used to be called EDAC, but it hasn't been operated for several years. We are forming a new committee, and I wanted to invite any businessmen or women who would be interested in volunteering to be on this committee. Bring your ideas and contact me at mharrer, Harrer, at oradell.org, and I would love to meet with you and talk with you. The mayor and I agreed that I would like to start a listening tour, which is an outreach to the business owners and featuring a kind of town hall with business owners, the mayor, and perhaps several council representatives to find out what they believe our business needs are, their concerns, questions, and their positive ideas for the future of the business of Oradell. A date for that town hall will be announced soon. The Oradell Public Library board met on Wednesday, April 8th, and they're looking forward to presenting their budget to the mayor and council and the public on May 12th. The third annual Young Poets Competition are still accepting submissions through Wednesday, April 29th, so write your poetry, commit quickly, and submit it tomorrow. All Oradell residents in grades 2 to 8 are invited to participate, and prizes will be awarded to winners with a reception to be held Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m. The Garden State Homegrown, which is a tribute to New Jersey musicians, will be Monday, May 11th at 7 o'clock. Gerard and Diane Barros will present a musical trip from the tip of Cape May to the edge of Mawa with a lot of stops in between. They will be saluting New Jersey-based artists such as Leslie Gore, Patti Smith, Paul Simon, the Isley Brothers, Connie Francis, The Fifth Dimension, Frank and Nancy Sinatra, and more. Very popular musical bingo is coming back Thursday, May 21st at 7 p.m. There's so much going on at the library. Please go to their website, oradellpubliclibrary.org, to find out all the wonderful activities sponsored by the library and supported by the Friends of the Library. Finally, the Oradell Historical Committee met April 27th. The chairman, Bob McConnell, called the meeting to order at 7:30, and it was a Zoom and in-person meeting. It was a large attendance, including members, interested citizens, and some experts in historic preservation. The associate historian, Sam Tripsis, gave another impressive presentation of historic photos of Oradell through the decades. There were further discussions of the framing, scheduling, and deadlines for the Oradell Historic Book of Photographs, telling the story of Oradell from the beginning to the present. This project has been in development over the past 2 years and is very exciting. We look forward to pushing it on to its final presentation. And finally, there was another lengthy and fascinating discussion of how the Historical Committee could better advise Oradell and provide some solutions to the affordable housing situation now and moving forward with a comprehensive plan for Oradell and its historic structures. There will be a presentation about this in the future, respectively submitted by Maggie Harrer.
Thank you. Board of Health, Municipal Drug Alliance, Board of Ed, Councilman Banfield.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Board of Health did not meet. We're working to iron out some details that have gotten in the way, but we expect to have a meeting in May. Riverdale Board of Education was pleased to announce Riverdale's first state champion wrestler, Jocelyn Danby, was first in her weight class at the state championship. So we're proud of her and presented her with a certificate of appreciation. Healthcare is driving the increase in the Riverdale budget. It's up 32% to the tune of $2.2 million. Their budget for Riverdale is increased by $2.5 million. So the healthcare increase represents 88% of the increase. They can, the schools are required to keep their budget within the state cap, but healthcare has no regard for caps. So this translates into an increase for the average home in Oradell of $326.52. The school has been very good about not using COVID funds for recurring expenses, and consequently finds himself in fairly good shape this year. Have not had to initiate any staff cuts, as have some other districts in the county, and part of that is by through attrition and not filling spots, not replacing those spots. Alan Feigenson, the board president, is also on the 38th District Legislative Board, and he pointed out that the state controls auto insurance rates, homeowners insurance rates increases, and they are proposing that the state and governor take over the health care burden for the districts. In other words, the state would do the health care for all of the school districts. They're proposing a resolution to that effect, and I guess we wind up paying for it one way or another, right? However, it might give some better control and in terms of cost, keeping costs down. At the OPS Board of Education, on May 6th, they will have their public meeting for the budget. The county has okayed the budget, so this would be the opportunity to go and learn more about it, speak to it, if you wish, on May 6th. They have a team called the Toilet Titans. They are steam tank finalists in New Jersey, top 20 in their division. And they're competing against middle schoolers, too, so it's pretty impressive. They have a device which they're now making a prototype of, which reduces the flow into the air when a toilet flushes of bacteria that is in that water. So we'll see how they come out with that. And Bergen County Commissioners meeting this month. They celebrated Captain Wayne Lemmy of Ramsey. He's a Vietnam War vet. He served in the 101st Airborne Division, flew an A-1H Cobra attack helicopter, got 2 Distinguished Flying Cross medals, 6 air medals, the Bronze Star, and a Purple Heart. And continued to serve the community in Ramsey as he does now through scouting, church service, and in many other ways. So we really appreciate the veterans and that the county is recognizing them on an ongoing basis. There's a local safety action plan due May 26th for Safe Streets for All funding. This is a federal program. This may be the last opportunity to get federal funding for safer streets for the county, if my understanding is correct, and their application is due May 26th. So that completes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Hines, anything to report? Thank you, sir. Mr. Bailey?
Thank you, Council President. Just a quick affordable housing update. There was a case management conference with Judge Corriston on April 20th, which was attended by Mr. Sereni and our special counsel. The judge encouraged the parties to continue negotiating a resolution that everyone can live with, and she scheduled another conference for May 28th to get the status on that. Can't get into the details of the discussions because that's all confidential and privileged at this point and under the auspices of the court's mediation program.
Sure. Thank you.
That's it.
And Dave, anything?
Sure. Thank you, Council President. So I'll hit the first target item, which everyone keeps asking about, is the sidewalks over on Prospect Avenue as well as Grant Avenue. We've been in communication with the contractor who did the work. They still exist, just for the record. In the event that they don't exist, we do have funds that we've withheld from the contractor, so there's money that the borough has in possession to help cover costs if we had to go that direction. However, The discussions with the contractor being that we're right there across the street from the school, the work will be done once school is out. I don't have an official start date for the work yet, being that it'll be the end of June, potentially July, early July when that work takes place. So we're 2 months out. Typically, a contractor doesn't have everything fine-tuned to the dates of when they're going to be doing it. But as we get closer, we'll let you know what the dates are for that work. But again, contractor has acknowledged and will be addressing the sidewalks.
Okay.
Did you have a question on that?
No.
No, okay, sorry.
I actually do.
Sure.
Or just a comment, because of the July 3rd and 4th celebration, and that is the heart of that whole area.
Yep.
Just keep
Probably
in
after.
mind,
Yep.
might not be a good idea to do it late
Till
June.
after.
Yeah.
Agreed. And that's what as we were going through the schedule, I kind of figured, because I know you guys have a big event usually for 4th of July here. So as it relates to the various walkway projects, so we have DPAC, we also have Lotus Woods and also Memorial Park. We're in the process of wrapping up the design plans on those. And we'll be looking to set up a meeting with the borough just to kind of fine tune everything and then look to get that submitted to the DEP so we can get permits for those projects as we're working within waterways, environmental sensitive areas that require DEP permits. So we're wrapping that up. I look to have that completed early May. Somehow we're in May soon. So that's coming up. We're working on the Hoffman Field irrigation improvements, which we should hopefully have the last bit of information from the irrigation guy this week so we can get that project out to bid within the month of May. Additionally, one of the other items I know that we've talked about was curbing on Summit Avenue. We're just wrapping up the conceptual plans that we put together for that, so we'll be issuing a report hopefully within the next week or two on that.
That's rapidly approaching.
Yep,
So
yep.
if we could
So
have that.
So so those are the main items that I have to report on. I don't know if anybody has any questions of me.
I do.
Sure.
Where do we stand with the bid for the concrete pads for the dugouts?
Sure. So we're just wrapping up the design plans on those for bidding. I would envision in about a week and a half, everything will be ready on our end so we can go out to bid once we get the blessings from the borough on that. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. No problem.
Yeah, Dave, in terms of I think everybody's excited about what could happen, Lotus, DPEC, and Memorial Woods. So is it at once we're going to kind of get conceptual drawings on all three, or is it we're going to look to do one this year or next year, or what's the timeline in there, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we're going to submit all three of them together to the state. So the first process is the plans and
design
everything together as far as the permitting process, right? So we have the layout set up right now as far as where the walkways and everything will go, which more or less is going to follow the existing pathways that are there today.
Just upgrading them and...
Yeah, so it'll be providing a better walking surface at the same grade that it is today, because ultimately we're not able to change the elevations in those locations given the sensitivity of the area.
Yeah.
So the first
behind
step is
DPEC, behind DPEC, there's nothing there, right?
We're not doing it. So
you're not going to be...
Yeah, so at DPAC, the main goal and objection of what was submitted for that is really to just go around the existing field. We're not looking to do anything within the wooded area over there at this time. It was really just to provide a defined pathway that people are using today to get
close
around
to the fields,
Correct.
Okay.
But however, like Memorial, it's going, starting, at the pond and working its way, meandering through there, getting your way over to Park where the pathways are today. And similar with Lotus. Lotus, there's a pathway that starts at Amaryllis and gets all the way to Soldier Hill. So
I guess I was under the understanding that there was going to be a pathway kind of from the Legacy Garden kind of around the back. No, that's not correct?
The Legacy Garden...
all the way over on the other side of the swim club at DPEC.
Yeah, there's nothing proposed over there
And
at
then
this
in
time.
the back, then going behind the swim club and tying into... No, that's incorrect. Okay.
No.
Okay.
That could be a future thing that the borough looks at, but at this
it's
point...
simply just around the fields. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sure.
And Summit, we're looking to do that this year in terms of paving and curbing?
Well, here's the issue. It's a PSE&G pave that we suspended when they were paving the rest of Latch String because we wanted to do the curbing there, because without doing that curbing, that road is going to continue to get deteriorate.
Right.
So we, on town expense, are going to do curbing, and then PSE&G is going to come back and pave curb to curb.
Hopefully this year.
Well, hopefully when they come back to do the lower end of town.
Okay.
So, so that's
there's
the
a
goal.
water issue up at the north end
Yeah,
of
we're aware.
Summit.
We're
right?
well aware of it.
Okay, yeah, that's
part of the design process.
All right, correct. Anything else, Dave? No?
There's a report on.
It looks like if there's nothing else, we can ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't reach